This is absolutely heartbreaking, and if you're not devastated by the emotional destruction we just witnessed, then you clearly missed Roman Reigns having a complete meltdown and viciously attacking his own cousins Jey and Jimmy Uso in the most painful and most personal explosion of rage WWE has ever shown. If you think this was just Roman being upset about losing, you're completely wrong, because what I'm about to expose proves that Roman has been bottling up years of resentment, paranoia, and control issues that finally erupted in the cruelest way possible when he blamed the Usos for his Crown Jewel loss and called them traitors to their own family. Comment right now if you think Roman Reigns crossed an unforgivable line by physically and verbally assaulting the two men who stood by him through everything, because the way Roman snapped on Jey and Jimmy has the entire wrestling world questioning whether the tribal chief has completely lost his mind or whether he's revealing his true colors as a paranoid tyrant who can't accept responsibility for his own failures. This isn't just a faction breaking up, this is a family being torn apart by Roman's ego, insecurity, and inability to lose with any grace. The bloodline is dead, and Roman killed it with his own hands. Let me break down exactly what happened backstage after Roman's shocking loss to Bronson at Crown Jewel, because every single moment of Roman's breakdown was painful to witness and revealed the toxic reality of what being in the bloodline under Roman's leadership has really been like. Roman stormed into the locker room area where Jey and Jimmy were waiting, clearly concerned about their cousin after such a devastating loss. The Usos immediately tried to console Roman, with Jimmy saying something like, "It's alright, we'll get him back, but Roman exploded before Jimmy could even finish his sentence. "Shut up!" Roman screamed, his voice raw with rage and pain. "Where were you? Where were you when I needed you?" The accusation in Roman's tone was shocking because the Usos weren't even scheduled to be at ringside for the match. Jey tried to explain, "Roman, you told us not to come to ringside. You said you wanted to beat Reed on your own to prove," but Roman cut him off with even more venom. "I told you to stay back to test your loyalty, to see if you cared enough to disobey me to save me. And you failed. You both failed me." The illogical nature of Roman's accusation, punishing them for following his orders, showed just how unhinged Roman had become in the aftermath of his loss. Here's a trivia question for Bloodline fans: how many years have the Usos been tag team champions in WWE total? Drop your estimate below. Jimmy, clearly hurt and confused, tried a different approach. "We've been with you through everything. Every defense, every battle, every war. We've bled for you, sacrificed for you, put our own careers on hold for you. How can you question our loyalty now?" That's when Roman did something that shocked everyone watching. He got right in Jimmy's face and said with cold, calculated cruelty, "You've been with me? No. You've been using me. Using my success to stay relevant. Using my spotlight to matter. Without me, you're nothing." The pain on Jimmy's face was visceral and real. This wasn't selling for the cameras, this was genuine hurt from someone being attacked by family. Jey stepped between them, trying to defuse the situation. "Roman, you need to calm down, you're not thinking straight, the loss is just..." But Roman shoved Jey backward with shocking force, sending him stumbling into equipment cases. "Don't you dare tell me what I need to do," Roman roared. "I'm the tribal chief. I'm the head of this table. I make the decisions. And what I've decided is that you two have been weak links holding me back this entire time." Roman's words were cutting deeper than any physical attack could, because he was targeting their insecurities, their fears, their dedication to him. Drop a comment: is Roman Reigns showing his true character by blaming others for his loss, or is this just grief and shock talking? Let me know your take. That's when Roman's rant took an even darker turn. He started listing every time he felt the Usos had let him down over the years, losses that happened years ago, moments where their timing was slightly off, instances where Roman felt they didn't show enough aggression or intensity. He had been keeping score of every perceived failure, storing up resentment like ammunition to use against them when he finally had an excuse. "You remember when you lost the tag titles 2 years ago? Roman seethed at Jey. "That was your fault. You got pinned. You made the bloodline look weak. And you," Roman turned to Jimmy, "you've been questioning my decisions for months. I've seen the looks, heard the whispers. You think I don't notice? You think the tribal chief doesn't see everything?" The paranoia in Roman's words was alarming. He had apparently been interpreting normal family concerns and natural human reactions as betrayal and conspiracy. The pressure of being champion for so long, of maintaining the bloodline's image, of living up to the tribal chief persona had clearly taken a psychological toll that nobody fully understood until this moment. Jimmy had tears in his eyes now, his voice breaking as he tried one more time to reach his cousin. "Joe, this isn't you, man. This is the loss talking. We're family. We're blood. We love you. Let us help you." But using Roman's real name seemed to trigger something even worse in the tribal chief. Quick question: what is Roman Reigns' finishing move called? "Show me you know your tribal chief knowledge." "Don't call me that." Roman exploded. "Joe Anoa'i is dead. There is only the tribal chief. And the tribal chief doesn't need help from traitors." The rejection of his own identity was disturbing. Roman had become so consumed by his character, his persona, his role as leader that he couldn't separate himself from it anymore. That's when the physical assault began. Roman attacked Jimmy first, throwing wild punches that lacked his usual precision because he was operating purely on emotion and rage. Jimmy tried to defend himself but wouldn't strike back. How could he? This was his cousin, his family, someone he loved despite everything. That hesitation allowed Roman to land several brutal shots before security personnel rushed in. Jey tried to pull Roman away, but Roman turned his fury on Jey next, tackling him to the ground and raining down strikes while screaming about betrayal and loyalty and respect. Multiple security guards and WWE officials were needed to physically restrain Roman and drag him away from his cousins. The entire time, Roman was still yelling accusations, "Traitors! You're both traitors! The bloodline is dead because of you." The aftermath was absolutely gutting. Jey and Jimmy sat on the floor, both physically and emotionally battered, looking destroyed not by the punches but by the words and the realization that the cousin they'd sacrificed everything for had just turned on them in the cruelest way possible. Medical staff checked on both men, but the injuries that mattered weren't physical, they were the wounds to their hearts and their family bond. Tell me in the comments, can Jey and Jimmy Uso ever forgive Roman Reigns for this attack, or has Roman permanently destroyed their relationship? What do you think? The locker room reaction was reportedly shocked and uncomfortable. Everyone knew Roman could be demanding and controlling, but seeing him completely lose it on his own family members who had been nothing but loyal crossed a line that made everyone question what Roman was really like behind closed doors. Several wrestlers reportedly went to check on the Usos, showing support and solidarity. Paul Heyman's absence during all of this was notable and suspicious. Paul had already abandoned Roman, and now Roman was alone, paranoid, and lashing out at the only people who were still standing by him. The timing suggested that Roman's breakdown might have been accelerated by Paul's betrayal, but that doesn't excuse Roman attacking his own cousins. The Bloodline's other members are reportedly in crisis mode. Solo Sikoa is caught between his loyalty to Roman as tribal chief and his bonds with Jey and Jimmy as fellow enforcers. Other family members are being forced to choose sides in what's becoming a civil war within the Anoa'i family dynasty. The unity that made the Bloodline powerful is shattered. The social media reaction has been overwhelming. The hashtags #StandWithTheUsos and #RomanHasLostIt are both trending worldwide. Fans are divided, some believe Roman's pressure and paranoia explain, but don't excuse, his actions, while others think Roman has revealed himself as an abusive leader who was always this way but hid it better when he was winning. The historical context is important. The Usos sacrificed years of their careers to be Roman's backup. They turned heel for him. They changed their entire presentation to fit his vision. They put Roman's success above their own ambitions. And this is how Roman thanks them? By blaming them for his failure and physically attacking them? The ingratitude is staggering. What's your honest opinion? Were there warning signs that Roman was this unstable all along, or is this genuinely out of character for him? Be real in the comments. The comparison to other faction implosions is inevitable. When the Shield broke up, Seth was the clear aggressor and Roman and Dean were the victims. But this breakdown is different. Roman is simultaneously the victim of Paul's betrayal and the aggressor attacking innocent people, the Usos, who did nothing wrong. It's a more complex and more tragic situation. The potential for redemption is questionable. How does Roman come back from this? How does he apologize for attacking his cousins and blaming them for his failures? Can he even admit he was wrong given how consumed he is by the tribal chief persona? The path to Roman healing his relationships and healing himself seems nearly impossible right now. The championship implications are interesting. Roman lost the title, and his immediate response was to destroy his own support system. That suggests Roman isn't mentally prepared for a redemption arc or a chase to regain the championship. He needs therapy more than he needs title matches. WWE has to decide whether to lean into Roman's mental breakdown or try to quickly rebuild him as a sympathetic character. The Usos' future is the biggest question mark. Do they stay loyal to Roman despite his attack? Do they finally stand up for themselves and leave the bloodline? Do they form their own faction to counter Roman? Every option is on the table now, and the Usos have earned the right to do whatever is best for them rather than for Roman. The family dynamics outside WWE are concerning. The Anoa'i family is wrestling royalty with deep traditions about respect and hierarchy. Roman attacking his cousins publicly violates those traditions and could cause real family tensions beyond just the storyline. The line between character and reality is dangerously blurred. Here's a strategic question: if you were Jey or Jimmy Uso, what would your response to Roman be? Forgiveness? Revenge? Walking away? Give me your choice. The potential matches coming from this are emotionally charged. Roman vs. Jimmy in a singles match where years of resentment boil over. Roman vs. Jey where Roman has to face the person he's hurt most. Roman vs. the Usos in a handicap match where Roman claims he can beat them both. Every option is painful but compelling. The promo possibilities are incredible. Imagine Jey or Jimmy finally getting to unleash on Roman, telling him everything they've been holding back for years. Imagine Roman trying to justify his actions and failing to articulate anything beyond ego and paranoia. Imagine other Bloodline members forced to make public statements about where they stand. This is the kind of emotionally raw content that makes wrestling meaningful. The broader implications for WWE are significant. The Bloodline has been WWE's most successful faction in years, generating massive revenue and interest. Its implosion creates both risk, losing a reliable main event act, and opportunity, creating multiple new storylines and elevating the Usos as sympathetic characters who can finally shine. One final question: do you want to see the Bloodline permanently destroyed, or should WWE eventually bring them back together after Roman goes through a redemption arc? What's better for business? The legacy of the Bloodline will be forever tainted by this moment. When people look back on Roman's tribal chief era, they'll remember not just the championships and dominance but also how it ended, with Roman attacking his own family and blaming everyone but himself for his failure. That's a tragic way to end what could have been a purely heroic story. Now I want to hear from you, the Wrestling Newsletter family. Tell me in the comments, did Roman Reigns go too far attacking the Usos? Should Jey and Jimmy forgive Roman eventually? Is Roman's breakdown realistic or out of character? What should the Usos do now, stay or leave? Can the Bloodline ever be rebuilt after this? Is this the most emotionally devastating WWE angle in years? Smash that like button if your heart broke watching Roman attack Jey and Jimmy. Destroy that like button if you think the Usos should never forgive Roman. We need maximum engagement. Subscribe to Wrestling Newsletter because we're covering every development in the Bloodline's implosion and the Usos' journey. Share this video with every wrestling fan because Roman Reigns snapping on the Usos after his Crown Jewel loss is the most painful family destruction we've witnessed. The tribal chief has fallen. The Bloodline is broken. Jey and Jimmy are betrayed. Roman has lost everything. And the family that once seemed unbreakable is now shattered into pieces that might never be put back together. This is tragic, compelling, and heartbreaking storytelling that reminds us why wrestling is so powerful when it explores real human emotions.